Welcome back. We're on part 2, and it's time for the weekly news segment called the Hot Tags. I guess, meat of this section. One thing is I have 2 Bleacher Report articles up that you can check the links out in the information below. One of them is about how Brock Lesnar must beat Triple H at Extreme Rules, and the other one is about how Jack Swagger has, he should have no more title shots after Extreme Rules. Okay. I just got boosted up to correspondent in the process of posting those, and I might have some more news coming up with that. I don't want to say anything too much. But one other thing I wanted to talk about is Raven Searm, I guess is how you pronounce it. I'm not 100% positive. Did a video of the Damian Sandow rendition of Randy Orton's theme that I thought was really cool. And I usually don't throw other kind of channels out there, but I have a link to that video because you guys got to check it out. It's fucking hilarious. The 2 main topics that I have for the hot tags, Dolph Ziggler gets a concussion, and there's the YouTube paid subscription thing. The first thing I want to mention is the YouTube situation. YouTube will be offering where you, not offering, they will be charging you to subscribe to certain channels eventually. And right now it's an optional kind of a thing, and they're only giving that option to certain people. Apparently they gave it to WWE and they said no, and then they gave it to TNA and they said yes. So
No. They gave it to WWE and they said no, and then Dixie went, "Oh, the WWE were interested in that, so I've got to have some of that, y'all."
Well, that is a terrible idea, because if they can't get people to watch their show for free, how are they expecting people to pay? Now it's only like $1 or $2.
It could be a convenience thing. Like, some people, maybe they just want to watch it on the internet instead. So, I mean,
they got to pay for it now.
It's $1. Like, whatever.
No, it's $4.
Yeah, but you're paying for TNA. I mean,
to TNA.
I could understand paying $1 or $2 for something else. It's actually worth your time, even for food or something like that. But you're paying for fucking TNA.
No, Braden, it's $4.99 to subscribe to TNA's channel.
That's a $5 charge for that.
Oh gosh, I can buy how many copies in that week that would be more worth my time than subscribing to the TNA YouTube channel.
You get 5 items at Wendy's for that.
You can, you know what? You could probably go to a TNA show and pick up a blind bag for $5. That's just as valuable as paying the $5 for their YouTube service.
Well, the way I see it is TNA's got to fix their company from a creative standpoint before they can even ask anyone for money for tickets, let alone subscribing to a YouTube channel that's going to be worth nothing. I believe that Dixie's done this as a way for them to make an extra bit of revenue to prove how smart she is. It's a bad idea. I was even saying this to Payton. I knew she was going to jump on it as soon as WWE said no. So they thought, okay, the number one guy said no. Then Dixie's coming, oh, we're a wrestling company and we'll do it, y'all.
Unless they
the worst Dixie Carter impression I've ever heard in my life.
Unless they can figure out a way to stream their pay-per-views through YouTube, then I might be interested. Like, if they stream the pay-per-views through the YouTube service, and then
those are the taped ones that they keep doing.
Right.
They won't do that because the on-demand service that they have currently in place, they're charging people more than $5. So from what I've been told, they're putting old DVD libraries and stuff on there. Everything that their own classic service has is on this channel, but it's a sort of a condensed version of it. For me, I don't see it going anywhere. I don't even see this page YouTube thing going anywhere. I think it's going to begin and end with Machinima, The Onion, and also with TNA. It's pretty much the same as they used to do a YouTube film service where you could upload a film that you made and charge people for it.
I think they still have that for mainstream Hollywood movies. I've noticed you can download the movie itself. They have full-length movies, and
they've got full-length movies, but they used to have ones for like indie guys. If you made an indie production, you could put it through them, submit it, and they'll stream it on YouTube.
Like a way of getting your movie out there, right?
Yeah, and people would purchase the movie at a cost, and then they stopped the service because it wasn't generating any revenue, it wasn't doing much, and people don't want to use YouTube as a paid service. They use it to watch certain material. It's kind of like Facebook. It's a
The
so
ads is what
Well,
the ads is what gives the corporations the benefit out of it in the first place. Is why we don't pay for it. It's because we have to deal with ads.
Right, exactly.
that's the thing.
And when it comes to Smark Out Movement, I'm going to do my very best. If they do kind of force that upon some people, now that I'm a part of the full screen thing, I don't know if full screen is going to end up doing it, but if they give me the option, I'm going to let you guys know that I am going to keep it where you don't have to pay for Smark Out Movement as much as possible, because it would just kill this whole channel.
As an independent partner myself, yeah, that's a fucking stupid idea. Way to kill your audience.
Exactly.
Basically.
You know what?
Who the fuck's gonna want to pay to watch free content that you're giving to people?
Right.
I mean, you can already put advertisements on it. What the fuck are they thinking
But
here?
a lot of guys as well use copyrighted content on their channels in association with parodies and stuff, but have they can use it under free use just because of the ad revenue that they're generating. As soon as it becomes a paid channel, then they're making money on it, and thus it's going to cause an issue.
Right. All right. I split that up because we had a couple little technical difficulties there with Skype, and then we had one right afterward. And it's kind of a good thing because I was fucking up at the moment too. So anyway, let's continue. We were talking about the YouTube thing. We kind of wrapped it all up because then we started talking about random stuff about YouTube, which sucks. But the Dolph Ziggler concussion thing, let's talk about that. The concussion, as far as what I've been reading online and everything, is that he might have to take some time off. And we were talking about this before the show started recording. And the suggestion that a lot of us were kind of agreeing upon was that they should have Big E Langston take his place at Extreme Rules and defend the title for him while they figure out whether or not he needs to actually relinquish the title, rather than vacate it, give it to somebody like Del Rio, and then find out a week later that Ziggler can have the championship.
Yeah, that he's cleared, and then you took it away from him for no reason.
I really hope that they don't do something like that. Of course,
the Big Show effect.
Well, the best case scenario, of course, is that they clear him in advance of Extreme Rules and he can just wrestle anyway and wrestle a little bit safe in the match.
Yeah, they
kind
do
of hard to
things
say
where
that considering it's a ladder match, but
he can take a bump early and just be out of the match and have Del Rio and Swagger do their thing, and then have Big E carry him up the ladder at the end if they think he'll be cleared in a month. The
thing is, he's not cleared to wrestle, so the best option at this moment in time is to have Big E insert himself in the match on Ziggler's behalf, and then we can get the story carried on to the extent where Booker's trying to get the title off Ziggler because he's not defending it, and have Ziggler think of ways to not defend the title. If they take the championship off of him, there is no way in hell he's going to get it back.
On top of that,
unless
when
it's
he's actually cleared, he can still keep hiding behind that. I mean, that's a pretty good heel tactic.
Yeah, and that's the thing that Ziggler is. I wouldn't say he's a run-of-the-mill heel, but he's one of those heels that you can say could get away with something like that. You wouldn't have someone like Ryback, for instance, get away with something like this.
Although he's been doing his fair share of running away as of late,
All heels in WWE do now.
But the thing is, with this, it would look rather interesting, and people would hate him so much more by doing that.
And at the same time, you can also use it to build up Big E's credibility by having him be the guy fighting these matches for him as a surrogate. To me, it reminds me a lot of the dynamic that Batista had in Evolution, where he was the heavy, he was doing the dirty work for Triple H, and he started to get over because of that. I think if you put Big E in that situation and have Ziggler be kind of the voice behind him, that could go towards building Big E up as an actual upper mid-carder, maybe even. I know they might want to put him as the main eventer somewhere down the line. That might be something worth looking into, but this could be a good thing for the whole group because it helps. Ziggler's already built. He could do whatever he wants now and it doesn't matter. Big E could really, stand to be built up.
It could be his time to shine, so to speak.
Aren't we concerned, though, that a guy who's had maybe 4 matches would be competing in a World Heavyweight Championship ladder match at a pay-per-view?
Hold
on, Chris. We're debating this when the main event for the pay-per-view is John Cena and a guy that's lost every pay-per-view matchup.
That's not a match.
It's not about
the credibility.
Every main event that he's been in on a pay-per-view.
It's not about the credibility of Big E. It's about is he too green? He's green. Honestly, he's very green.
Yeah.
I don't think
about being green. You don't consider Ryback green?
He is a hell of a lot less green than Big E. Let's be real.
Really?
Well, you put Ryback
I
with a good
really
worker.
don't think so.
Match.
You put
To be
Ryback.
Let Burhan tell you all about my issues with Ryback's ring work. I mean, he could go on for hours for
You
me.
Yeah.
put Ryback in there with Brian, and they put him in there with Kane, and those matches were okay.
Because they were with guys that could work.
That's what I'm saying. But you're putting Big E in, and he's a guy who's had 4 matches, and all of them.
Del Rio and Swagger aren't capable of carrying matches, though.
Wait
It's
a
ladder
minute.
match. He doesn't have to do a lot. I know. It's the fact that like we're saying
Okay.
Dolph's the
Well,
world champion, and we don't know how long he can have the title after this. So our way out of that is having Big E, who has the greenest person on the roster, probably.
As opposed to taking the title off of Ziggler, I'd rather have somebody who's green.
I'd rather them figure out. This is what they need to do. They need to figure out how, like, as best they can, how long Ziggler's supposed to be out for. If he's not cleared to compete by the pay-per-view, he shouldn't be in the match. That's just the way it goes.
Obviously, but then if you think about it this way, would a match between Del Rio and Swagger really be that much better than a match between Del Rio, Swagger, and Big E?
Depends on how much Big E does.
I think it'll be a lot more entertaining
Right.
because Big E has that power. He has that strength behind him.
Plus, it might be something that makes people want to buy the pay-per-view if they start seeing, oh my God, there's a twist in the middle of that, and on top of it,
Big E sells tickets now.
Yeah, but it's
what's
going to sell more tickets. You take away one of the people, or you add somebody who you didn't see coming.
Big E, the prospect of Big E in a matchup like this is way more exciting than just a matchup between Swagger and Del Rio. That's a sleeping pill.
If Big E is in the match, it is not a sleeping pill.
That is those guys are
some of the best matches this year. By far,
and them in a ladder match would actually be pretty good, but I don't see the point in taking the title off of Ziggler if he's only going to miss like a month of action. I mean, they didn't take the belt off of Cena, and he's battling through a heel-turned Achilles tendon.
Well, there's also another little aspect of this too that we haven't really talked about, and that's the show-off gimmick. They could transition this into him doing quite the opposite, that he doesn't want to show off anymore. He's just kind of like, I don't have to fucking do this for anybody else. I'm just doing that. I'm already the champion. You guys don't deserve me to fucking show off. You don't need a show.
Like, yeah, no, that's exactly it. He'll be negating his responsibilities as champion,
right?
But quite blatantly by having Big E inserted into these big matches. And if he's like, for instance, if he's out for 3 months, you could easily have Big E fill his spot.
If he's out
for those 3 months,
they need to take the belt off of him.
That's a different story. 3 months.
3 months. I'd say if it's over 3 months plus, then yeah, I would say.
No, even 3 months.
3 months, not really.
If he was missing 3 weeks to a month of action, that's fine.
A month
but longer
is fine.
than that,
yeah.
I think you could hold on. I think you could pull it off.
Yeah.
If you keep the story hot. He can't just stay home for 3 months. He's got to be on screen in some fashion, keeping the storyline hot. And I think most fans will be okay with him not wrestling for 3 months as long as you keep him in the picture. As long as you keep it hot.
How is he
You
the
also
champion
have Big E over
It's not
time
wrestling.
getting discouraged by the fact that Ziggler's, making him do this.
It worked for The Rock.
Yeah, it worked for The Rock. I mean, you don't have to defend the title to hold it in WWE. I think we've already established that.
No, I think 3 months is way too long. I think that the most that they could ever stretch this out to is Payback.
Yeah,
Yes.
a month. A month is fine.
Totally
if they know
agree.
he'll be back
1
in a
month.
month and they don't want to take the belt off of him, I can understand that. Have Big E retain the title for him at Extreme Rules. Ziggler comes back at Payback and starts defending his title again. That's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
After a month,
No
it's
problem with that.
Way too
I
long.
just wouldn't want them to, panic because they think he's, severely injured. They take the belt off of him, give it to, like, Del Rio or whatever, and then he's back in, like, 3 weeks to a month.
What do you think, Peyton?
That would fucking suck. That happened to somebody before who could have been world
Happened
champion.
to Kennedy.
And he got fired because of it. If he would have been a world champion,
No.
he certainly would not have been fired. That's
Let's
like
be fair.
Kennedy got fired because he sucked. But
Let's be fair.
Hey, if he was a former world champion, that's like life insurance in the WWE. Somehow Jack Swagger, after having one of the worst world title reigns in modern history, disappears forever. People think he's going to be released between every time he has a hiatus. He always comes back. Why? Why? Because he's a former world heavyweight champion.
He's better than a lot of the guys they have now, to be fair, Burhan.
Yeah. So. Peyton, what do you think?
Well, I come from a very old school mentality, and I like to follow the Jack Tunney rule. If you can't defend that title in 30 days, you should be stripped of it. So if they feel like they want to wait past this pay-per-view, do what they need to do. If they feel like they need to slot Big E in there, that's fine. 3 months, that's way too long to be going without that title being defended. Even though they have so many other titles that they could, like, still have enough on a pay-per-view, it's still way too long. I mean, you want to talk about ruining the credibility of the title, that would be one of the quickest ways to do it. If they had to, take it off Dolph and put it back on him in a few months. It's not that big of a deal. Put it back on him at the end of the summer where we're going to Survivor Series season.
We know we would know he would be losing the title because he was hurt, not because he just lost the title. So people would be accepting of that.
I think.
Though, Payden, do you think that he will get the title back if he gets stripped of it now?
Well, here's the problem though. If he gets stripped of it and that title finds its way onto somebody that really takes the ball and runs with it, he may miss his shot.
Yeah, or WWE might just get bored. I mean, we've seen a lot of times where they start pushing a guy for a long time, and then just the next week Vince decides, hey, I'm bored with you. I'm going to put the belt somewhere else.
It's not his fault he got a concussion, but it could end up feeling bad for him.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that concussion could not have come in any worse time in his entire career.
Now, granted, he's overcome so much in his career that I think he'll find a way, even if he does have to lose the title because he's hurt. He'll get it back at some point. It may not be this year. Maybe, like he said, what if somebody else runs hot with the belt? That's fine.
Well, Brandon,
he may get it at some point back though. He's overcome too many bad gimmicks and too many things to get his shot and then lose it because he got hurt.
And to be fair, the ring name too. You think that would be like the goofiest fucking ring name to hinder somebody's entire career?
It's not Percy Watson.
I know it's not Percy Watson.
It's not Eli Cottonwood.
Well, Brandon, you want to give us your opinions and this off?
I think it would be I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see what they do. I could see them not acknowledging Ziggler's injury on camera if they haven't already, and just having Ziggler, lose by count out and just find other ways. I do like the idea of having Big E as a surrogate. That would be something really different. They haven't really done in a long time.
The last time I can recall somebody being a substitute for somebody was when...
I think they just got to play it out.
Was when Randy Orton substituted for Booker T against, I forget who it was against.
Chris Benoit.
I know. That was the point. That's the joke.
Oh, okay.
It was against somebody who never existed, remember?
He was against blank.
It was the best of 5, and that's the last time I remember something like this happening. And he ended up winning the title because Orton won it for him, so it's just something to keep in mind when it comes to the situation.
Well, you know what that means. We just talked about Benoit, so that means this segment needs to be over with.
Benoit's a segment killer.
Before we start getting into horrible things.
Remember, folks, if you say his name 3 times, he pops out and strangles you.
That's awful. See, that's what I was trying to prevent.
He's going to lay a Bible beside you.
All right, the next part we're going to talk about the current WWE roster and where we think it's going, and all the strengths and weaknesses and everything like that. And then we'll round out this episode with superstar scores, Bob Holly, and